The Voracious Wonder. Tarrare. Tarrare, the soldier who could eat almost anything. In a world filled with the constant hustle and bustle of 18th century France, where cobblestone streets echoed with the sounds of daily life, there existed a mystery that left even the most learned minds utterly bewildered. Picture it. A typical day in a bustling Paris marketplace. The aroma of fresh baguettes and pastries in the air, when a peculiar figure makes a scene outside a modest stall. This is the remarkable story of Tarrare. Tarrare was no ordinary man. With a frame thin as a whippet, he was burdened with an insatiable hunger, so immense it defied all reason. At the tender age of 17, he found himself consuming enough food to feed a family of 4, and yet remained perpetually gaunt. People stared in disbelief as he devoured not just bread and meats, but inexplicably he could eat the unimaginable, live animals, secret documents hidden in pies, and so much more. Now, close your eyes and imagine Tarrare in the chaos of the marketplace, his eyes wide with hunger, consuming every morsel he could find like a man possessed. Was it a disease? A curse? The crowd's fascination was equalled only by their horror. What was truly extraordinary was that his skin stretched like leather to accommodate his endless feasts, snapping back with a sort of grotesque elasticity. This is where we begin. A young man lost in his appetite, about to become a living legend. Behold the beginning of a mystery that would baffle physicians for centuries to come. Our story continues as we delve into the enigma that was Tarrare, a mystery wrapped in human form. Born in the rural countryside of Lyon, he arrived in Paris during the fervour of revolutionary change, a time where survival itself was a revolutionary act. The teeming streets of Paris had long seen spectacles, but none quite like him. Tarrare became a curiosity, both feared and marvelled at. It wasn't long before curious minds led him to a local hospital, where Dr. Courville took him under his wing. The doctor examined Tarrare and documented with great fascination an anatomical anomaly that defied logical explanation. Despite his voracious appetite, all physical exams showed Tarrare to be entirely normal, aside from his godlike gluttony. Imagine again the central courtyard of the hospital, with Tarrare as the subject of relentless scrutiny. Physicians gathered around, eager and skeptical, trying to comprehend a man who could eat his weight and more in a single sitting. What could these endless cravings possibly mean? Theories abounded. Some speculated it was an unseen internal furnace that drove his endless consumption. Others feared it was a curse or divine punishment. Each meal he devoured brought him fame, infamy, and an urgent plea from the medical community to understand what lay beneath his ravenous surface. The puzzle of Tarrare lay open before the world, waiting to expose its secrets. As word of Tarrare's abilities spread, the military took an unlikely interest. During the tumultuous years of the French Revolutionary Wars, even the strange talents of a man like Tarrare were deemed useful. The army saw potential in his peculiar abilities, and so Tarrare became an unwitting pawn in the wrought strategies of warfare. Envision a military camp on the edge of twilight. Soldiers huddled around tents, the air filled with the clang of metal and the distant cries of battle. Tarrare was recruited to transport secret military messages by swallowing them whole, an idea as audacious as it was desperate. After all, who would search the belly of a poor, scraggly soldier? Tarrare's unique skill seemed the perfect solution. Yet there was an insidious catch. Walking the fine line between asset and liability, his unending hunger brought danger. In a testing exercise, he consumed a wooden box wrapped in oilcloth with ease, later regurgitating it intact to the astonishment of soldiers and generals alike. The night was still as soldiers watched this bizarre spectacle, breath frozen in anticipation. How had it come to this? Rather than deciphering enemy codes, they found themselves mesmerized by the man who could eat anything. But the reality of war was harsh and unyielding, and not all superpowers are equal. Tarrare's limits would soon be confronted in ways neither he nor his captors could foresee. Beyond his duties as a living letterbox, Tarrare's deep, relentless hunger led him down darker alleys. Gone were the days of mere spectacle. Now, his appetite became a spectre that haunted him. Amidst the grim shadow of an army encampment, tales of Tarrare's unsavory exploits began to unfold. The military kept him on as a curiosity, but soon rumors circulated about increasingly bizarre and disturbing consumption. Cats, dogs, even inhumanely experimenting on cadavers. But the tale took an even darker turn, with whispers of him possibly feasting on something far more forbidden. Picture Tarrare in his tent, isolated and overcome by a hunger that seemed part of another world, consuming raw flesh without hesitation. Could this be the same man who once roamed the markets of Paris in innocence? Fear and revulsion spread like wildfire, and it wasn't long before his military masters began to reconsider their decision. What began as a grand experiment in unconventional warfare had morphed into a chilling portrait of a man whose appetites knew no bounds. Tarrare's hunger had become a prison, shackling him to a cycle of intense longing and uncontrollable consumption. And within this malady, the seeds of his downfall were sown, leaving behind stories that horrified as much as they fascinated. And so Tarrare's story reaches its uncertain end amidst the dim halls of Versailles' renowned hospital. His existence had become a tragic cycle, leaving behind him a trail of incredulity and horror. By now, his health had deteriorated rapidly under the weight of his own dreadful secret, whatever it might have been. Imagine a hospital room in the small hours before dawn, where Tarrare lay, his once insatiable hunger now meditating on mortality. Doctors and priests hovered nearby, their whispers mingling with the flickering shadows cast by candlelight. There was no cure for Tarrare's affliction, only speculation and the hollow comfort of moot diagnoses. The world watched his decline with morbid curiosity, unable to pull their gaze away from a man whose very existence defied explanation. As he slipped from life, relief tangled with regret in equal measure. Tarrare's legacy lived on, a cautionary tale enshrined in medical journals and whispered in awe and dread. His story, a testament to the mysteries the human body can harbour, left as many questions unanswered as when it began. Why does this story endure? Perhaps because, beyond the grotesque spectacle, Tarrare presents a fundamental question of human existence. How much of what drives us is truly under our control?